I'm Jamie.
And I'm Jonathan.
And welcome back to Life with a Course. So today, I want to talk about how playfulness can be something that gets lost when a marriage has been in survival mode.
Okay.
And I'll just read a little bit because I can't remember all of what I want to say and how I want to parse it out. So, talk about how walking through hard stuff in marriage has created a space where we aren't silly and playful with each other. We haven't created a safe place for us to be vulnerable enough to bring that side of ourselves to each other. And honestly, we've lost the sense of safety that makes playfulness even possible. This calls back to our second episode where we talked about needing to feel safe in order to be vulnerable with each other and how we haven't created that between our marriage, between each other. And so as little kids, my counselor talked about this years ago with me. As little kids, our job is to play and have fun and enjoy life. And we actually never grow out of that. We're just adults that still need to play and have fun. But we can so easily forget that. We can focus on work or marriage or go through hard times. We can go into survival mode or autopilot. And I'm not saying every marriage goes through that, but we have. We definitely have. Marriage has been hard for us. We've walked through some pretty rough stuff, and we've really missed the play and the fun part for the most part. And I think both of our personalities can be silly and fun. We love to be the life of the party, but when we feel safe. And we haven't really created that atmosphere between each other, the two of us in our marriage. Now, you do make me laugh a ton. You are hilarious, you're witty, you make me laugh a bunch, but I think about the ways that I dance with our son or am weird with my sisters, or I can just be totally, like, I really am silly with our son. Or like, I don't know, like singing in the mirror. That part of me feels too fragile to share with you almost, which is sad. It is sad. And again, that goes back to what we talked about. We haven't created this safety to be vulnerable with each other. Definitely hurt and resentment and bitterness can create this barrier where play and silliness and fun can't grow. And again, talking with my counselor years ago, she gave me this homework to go to learn how to play. And it's not just in our marriage. I think for myself, for so many years, I have needed to have everything put together and look put together and that's, I've just become more serious or lost the art of fun and playfulness and like this lightheartedness. I think walking through some of what we've walked through and what I've walked through even before we got married, I just became more serious and even hard-hearted and all of that. And so I haven't created a space to just be fun and silly. And so my counselor had said, okay, that's your homework. And she said that being with kids gives such a great space and even gives you permission to be silly because you want to make babies laugh or kids laugh. They're silly, so you can be silly back. And it made me think of this story, this experience I had a couple weeks ago with our niece, who's 3. And she is very, very well spoken, but for fun, she's created this funny little, like silly little made up language. And so she was talking to me, and I'm like, why? I don't know why I'm embarrassed, but to talk back in this made up silly language. And I do it back. And again, I don't know why. I even talked about it with my sister later on, like, because the next day we were FaceTiming. And my niece then starts talking to me in this language, and I just don't skip a beat, and I just respond back. And my sister says something along the lines of, man, you're so good at that. You just, went along with it. And I said, well, it definitely took part of me yesterday when I was with her doing it for the first time. It took part of me to like take a deep breath, like, you don't have to be embarrassed about this. Why are you? It's just a little child. And just that idea of, why would I be embarrassed to play or embarrassed to be silly? I don't want to lose that side of me. Like I want that to be the norm. And I think definitely, like my counselor said years ago, that kids just give such a space and permission to be fun and playful, that I'm experiencing that more and more with our son, just dancing in the kitchen with him and making him laugh, that is definitely bringing a part of me, like bringing it alive again, is practicing it. And like Proverbs says, laughter is good medicine. And so I think we can laugh together, but we haven't necessarily been playful and silly and created that in our marriage. And then it also made me think of our experience tonight even. So Jonathan was playing the guitar and we were singing songs with our son. And I am not a singer. Finding the key, you joke all the time while I'm singing. He's like, you just changed keys. You changed keys again.
Well, one, you can't find the key, and then two, you change keys.
I have sure I can hear it, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't follow and I don't know what key I'm in. So tonight he started playing this little game. He's like, okay, so he would change the key and he's like, okay, find it. And I would sing. And to me, if it was like a breath of fresh air. We were laughing together. For me, I felt safer. I didn't feel like you were laughing at me. I didn't feel like you were judging me. I just felt like we were laughing together. And it's cool because that felt like a new experience. Where we were, I don't know, it's not that I was being silly, it's that you were kind of giving me space to, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. This is just funny. We were just laughing together, and like, I haven't gut laughed like that in a while, just even at myself, because that's not something I'm good at. So it makes me think about us because I feel like we've spent a lot of our marriage learning how to survive hard things and navigate really difficult seasons. And so somewhere along the way, I think we just lost our silliness and our ability to just enjoy each other. And I don't know, correct me, but maybe we never had that. Maybe we lost it along the way. I don't know. So I'm curious, when you think about the version of yourself that gets to be playful and silly and carefree, what do you think has made it difficult for that part of you to show up in our marriage? And then I have another follow-up question as well.
Just one follow-up.
Yeah, there can be a couple ways we can go with this, but that's where I wanted to start.
It's interesting. Like, do you think having fun and being silly, like, and this is, I'll answer for your question for sure. Is that something you think like a lot of wives, at least from what you've connected or maybe just seen, like matters, is having fun and things like that?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know for most wives. I just think it has really stuck with me when my counselor said, kids have one job, little kids, to have fun, to play. Like, that's childhood.
Yep.
And actually, we never grow out of that.
No.
We are God's children, and he wants us to, look through scripture. He wants us to delight. He wants us to, obviously there's so much more than just that. And you grow up in, there's the Great Commission, and he's called us to do good works and glorify our Father in heaven. There is so much of that. But if you think about, you don't expect a 2-year-old to have his stuff together, and you expect him to play and have fun. And that's, for us, that is our main goal, is to make our son laugh and have so much fun. And so I think the idea that we never grow out of that need and desire for play is something I've been pondering. And so I don't know if it's for most wives. I think play is needed in marriage, and I don't know for other people, but for my experience, that hasn't been as present.
Yeah. So could you ask your question again? Sorry, I just wanted to get that.
Yeah. Do you think for husbands that's the goal? Or
I don't think so.
Most husbands? No.
I don't think so. But that's obviously me speaking for one person.
Is that your view of wives, that they want to have fun and play?
I think in general, women or wives can be very high desire spouses who just I want a husband who's engaged, who's fun, like who's silly, who, like, you can just have these, like, you want these emotional experiences.
Okay.
And whereas, like, I don't know if maybe some guys want that too, but I don't think it's a wrong question. It's just, I was just curious to see if that's something that you've at least maybe even talked about with other people.
Sure.
As well. Because it's interesting for me. I don't know if I jump to. It's always interesting for me when I hear couples say, like, yeah, like, they love having fun or hanging out with their spouse, things like that. I mean, I would say for a majority of marriage, that wasn't always the case.
Totally.
And honestly, like I see even younger couples who actually do enjoy hanging out with each other, especially have maybe quote unquote fun.
We have friends that travel together and love hanging out.
Yeah, love hanging out with each other.
Having
So it's
fun.
definitely like this is like to me, like marriage just seems, at least my own perception, it's not healthy, but that marriage is just hard. It's like just hard,
Yeah.
hard.
Yep. And that's our experience.
And that's our experience. But yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
if you want to.
I think actually, now that you say that, I think I want to pivot and ask this question first,
Please.
and then I'll go to you. What is your experience trying to get me out of my shell and out of my seriousness with making me laugh? Like, what's your experience? All of what I shared. It's harder for me to play. It's harder for me to show up and be silly. Maybe part of myself that is totally goofy with my sisters. That part I've been scared to share with you. What is your experience? I don't know, maybe you don't try to get me out of my shell, but you definitely do make me laugh.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if there's a strategy there. I think the thing I think of, so we got the store yesterday walking, or we're going to the store, and then I walk out, and then you look at my outfit, you're like, whoa, like, what are you wearing? Or I can't remember how you said it exactly. And
I was like, ooh, baby.
yeah. Because those, was I wearing a hat? I can't remember if I was wearing a hat or not. Let's just assume I was wearing a hat.
I mean,
because
you
love
usually
wearing hats. A shirt, shorts, and then, ankle size, like whatever, socks, and then Crocs. Like, and I remember even a few weeks ago, you asked saying, hey, like, could you ever picture yourself wearing like any of this? I'm like, no. And
Oh, yeah, no, because I asked, because you were really into fashion in high school and after high school, and I said, your high school self, could you picture yourself
Yeah.
wearing dad shoes and Crocs?
Yeah. And by dad shoes, like I have walking shoes that I'll wear out in public when we go out. And honestly, it's funny because like now that I'm here, well, my response to you yesterday was like, well, I'm a dad. Like this is just, there's a little bit of carelessness, which I don't know if it's a good or bad thing. And I just think that I think having a kid actually has created a lot more of that sort of mentality of like not taking myself so seriously, being light with things, just things happen. I mean, I was such a very rigid person, and I still can be. I mean, I even think about it with my niece when she was born. I remember we went to like, I don't even know what the thought was here, but we ended up going to a steakhouse with maybe under 1 year old. And so she's just like whining and things like that. And I was just like judging the crap out of her. I'm just like, come on, like stop. Like, read the room. We're at a nice steakhouse right now.
To a 1 year old?
Yeah. And obviously I was young, I was early, like maybe 19 or 20 or something like that. And I was just thinking about me, but it's just like in general, and I know you've experienced it where I just get irritable. I just get irritated, and people just around me can just impact me. It's like, man, like
I think the real word is inconvenience you.
yeah, inconvenience, all that, like,
Yeah.
Insert all those things. And it's just because I'm thinking about myself. Like, I just want it to I want it to feel good for Jonathan and, all these other things. And so I think part of me now having a kid is just like, one, I obviously love the baby so much, and he does not care what I look or how I dress. He just cares, oh, wow, look at Dad. So it doesn't matter what,
Yeah.
and so I think part of that just caused me to be more light with things, and hopefully that'll continue with them and even more kids in the future. But I think that's been immensely helpful. Now, to go to your question, I don't know the answer for that, and I don't even know what the previous question was, but maybe we just begin to unpack this. I've always like, the realization for me recently, at least maybe over the past few years, is going to what you're saying about feeling safe. And like the reality is like whoever that group of people that you feel safe with, some people it's family. Unfortunately, some people it's not family. Sometimes it's just friends or church or I don't know, maybe other
Coworkers even?
Yeah, coworkers, whoever that is. I realize like for me, there's a light bulb. I'm like, one, I feel the most comfortable and safe with my family, my
Yeah.
immediate family. And so my question is like, okay, if I'm in that space, what is my personality type like in those spaces? And for me, it definitely is like being super joking, um, and it helps because I think my family is a great crowd. Like they definitely are.
A good audience.
Yeah, good audience. There you go. And so I just think it keeps me going. I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah, like,
Your sister's
or,
laugh is infectious. She thinks
yeah,
you're hilarious. Yeah.
totally. And they riff as well. And
Yeah.
so I realize I'm like, okay, how do I get to a place where that Jonathan
Yeah.
is in work, is in church, is in marriage, and like, because I realize, and not to say that that's like the perfect illustration of me or like example of me, but I'm like, how do I just, instead of being work Jonathan or church Jonathan or marriage Jonathan, like, how do I just be, really embrace who I am and then show up in that way in those other spaces, regardless of external factors? Because
Yeah.
the reality is at the end of the day, like, with being fun or playful, I think life happens, and we realize life can be really hard and people can judge us. And so therefore I end up developing this personality that fits those scenarios. And so I think the perfect example for me with not even our marriage, but it's just even with your family. I remember like, a few years of us being married, I just feel like I was just present there, showing up.
Oftentimes in the other room on your phone.
Yeah, and then just kind of doing my own thing. I'm like, okay, cool. We're here. We're hanging out with the family and things like that. And eventually, I'm like, that whole process came. I'm like, I wonder if I just start being goofier, and then
Yeah.
so that's one part of like even my own personality type. The other one is I talk a lot, and I talk loud. And the other thing is I'm extremely curious, so I'll ask questions, and I don't mind being uncomfortable either. And I just started doing that, and I just realized I'm like, oh wow, this is kind of nice. Like I don't have to be a different person or whatever. And I just think from that context, eventually it started to weave its way into other things like work. And so I just realized, just going through that evolution, if that was true about myself back then, that definitely was true about it in our marriage. And I think even too, to rewind to the beginning of marriage, my association with marriage from the get, especially to just seeing what I was modeled and what I was around, is marriage is hard. And so that's where my mind went to right away when we got married, is like, this is going to be really hard, whether it's consciously, which probably wasn't, it was probably more subconscious, just in the back of my mind. And that's where for me, I mean, obviously the grand gesture of our proposal was big, which is awesome. And then from there, I just went into autopilot. And I'm sure there's just a level of like, okay, well, and I'm not sure if this is my own recall of just, my own upbringing. It's like, marriage is going to be hard, you can't do whatever you want, all these. And so I just started subconsciously labeling and saying what it was going to be like. And unfortunately, that was what I created, whether I wanted to or not. And the marriage is just very serious, versus playful and light, and things like that. So I'm sure I went through my own experience, but I'll leave it at that. Let you jump in, see if there's anything else you want to.
I think what is cool though is that my family even noticed when you started showing up more of yourself, or more as yourself. Like I remember, yeah, like, oh, he seems to be more comfortable, or he's talking more, or he's engaging more, and even them seeing your humor. So I remember them like pointing it out and recognizing. Yeah, I just have a huge desire for myself to, I've said this to you recently, be lighthearted. I want to learn a lightheartedness. Some of it is learning from different people around me, just like a critical spirit, or like a rushed spirit. I'm having a hard time thinking of the word I'm looking for, but the opposite of lightheartedness, just like this. What would you say is the opposite?
Maybe very particular. I don't know, controlling or.
Yeah, controlling. Anyway, and I don't like this carefree. That's like just this carefree spirit. And obviously, I'm a mom, and I have a house to care for and run, but that my spirit would be carefree.
Yeah.
My spirit would be lighthearted. That has been my biggest prayer. Oh, uptight. That's the word.
Yep.
Thank you, Lord. Kind of just being uptight, needing everything to be together and feeling rushed. And that can be my natural bent. And you call this event, Jamie. I can get that way when I'm hosting. I love hosting. That is my favorite thing in the world, is to host girls' nights or dinner parties or gatherings, different,
But describe event, Jamie, from your perspective.
But then, so it's like fun. And then all of a sudden people are coming in an hour or 2 hours, and it's like the procrastinator Jamie, the forgetful Jamie. I'm getting better at this, being ahead of schedule and being, ahead. But historically, there's way too much left to the last minute. I'm rushing around, controlling, snippety, cold, and you're like, just bossy, controlling, all of that.
Well, yeah, and even too, like, I just, even for me, like, I would love, and I've told you this too. I'm like, I'm not, like, it's not that fun. You're not that fun to be around or like enjoyable. And I have those moments too. Like, I have my own scenarios where I'm also not fun. And I would say probably mine is more often than yours. But just in that context, like, something that should be fun and all sorts of things all of a sudden becomes extremely tense and stressful. And I'm like,
totally.
It's a lot.
Yeah. So all that to say, I have a deep desire to be carefree and lighthearted, and bring that to our marriage, because I am keenly aware that I haven't brought much joy into this marriage. And I have grace for that part of me. It's not like I'm judging that side. I did for a long time, and I had to work that out in counseling with my counselor, but because we've gone through so much hard, and like I said earlier, hurt and bitterness and resentment can create such a barrier and put a lid on silliness and fun, especially when I would be made fun of for it. And I would be silly, and I don't know, we don't need to dig up the past, but I just shoved it down in our marriage.
Yep.
Outside of marriage, I think, even my sister and I just recently talked about this. It's like, as adults, neither of us have silly friends. Maybe it's the world that we live in. So many of our friends have like these corporate jobs, and I'm not saying that makes people not fun, but like, as adults, we don't really have silly friends where you just like bust out in song or just be silly and dancing. And she brought it up because we had those friends when we were young, specifically with our cousins. We were weirdos with our cousins, and we've talked about this. Like, we kind of are the only ones that get our humor, but we would be super silly and goofy. And then when I told her, she was over one time, and I told her, yeah, my son, I was like, our baby loves when I dance like this. He just thinks it's so fun and he laughs. She does not even skip a beat. She joins me immediately. And later when we talked about it, she's like, I just don't have many friends that I can do that with, and that I'm not going to be judged, and I can just fully let loose and be so silly. And again, having children invites that. Yeah. Invites the silliness, and it's easier. It's almost like more acceptable when kids are present versus with adults. So yeah, not having adult friends where you can just be silly. And also, our family quotes movies all the time. Like, there's a quote for everything, and I don't really have any friends like that. And so, yeah, maybe there's just parts of me that I have found really only feel acceptable with my family, and I haven't even tested the waters and attempted to bring that part of myself to other friends. And that's on me. I'm not saying that that's my friend's fault at all. That's on me. But I do have this desire to, I love that you were saying, like, learning, okay, so who are you with your family? Who are you with the people that you can totally feel like Jonathan, bring your full self? Now, how do you learn to do that in other spheres? And I have the exact same desire.
I'm curious for you, like, knowing that there are people who do exist that are incredibly extroverted or can just put themselves out there. I'm curious when you see an individual who maybe reminds you of both maybe who you are when you're safe or comfortable, or aspects that you were like, man, I wish I could be like that. What is your, talk us through your thought process about those people?
Oh, well, it's so magnetic. I think it invites that part of me, for sure. It makes me think of one of the elders at our old church. I come from a charismatic worship background, and then we were going to more reformed, and nobody really raised their hands. Nobody really was very responsive during worship, but I would raise my hands and clap and was very responsive. And I remember one of the elders that was over worship said, keep doing that because it gives people permission to also express themselves in that way, seeing it modeled. And that stuck with me because, yeah, being ourselves gives other people permission to do the same. So saying that because when I experience other people doing that, it gives me the permission, and it almost invites me to be carefree and bring that part of myself.
Yeah, for me, it's very different because I project. If I see somebody who's similar to me or maybe something that I want to be, I just start judging.
Okay, go ahead, keep going.
For me, that's the truthful response.
You start judging them, or you start judging yourself that you can't be like that?
I judge them.
Yeah.
Like, you're being too much, or you're blah, 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 all these sort of things. I'm like, hey, I don't know. It's all projecting. That's all it is. I'm just like, I feel insecure by them versus like, and like I realize now, I think it's evolving for sure, where I'm like, okay, cool. Like, that's awesome. They're just being themselves. And because I would say it's probably less likely for someone to be bold and be courageous and put themselves out there than the opposite. To just be a shell and be like, hey, just go with the flow, not try to bring any attention to yourself. And so it's definitely an evolution, but I just remember there's certain seasons where I'm just like, I don't like this person. It's like, oh, well, what do you not like about them? It's like, I think they're trying a little too hard to be funny. Like, for example, for me. And I'm like, okay. And then if I were to go back, be like, hey, Jonathan, is that because you're not more funnier than them? All these, like, it just automatically somebody else's personality type threatens mine.
Sure.
Like, well, what about me? You know. And so I just know that that's typically a lot more, historically has been a lot more my default, is that of projecting and then judging, envying, and then, trying to distance myself. Versus now, like, even I have a friend who I mentioned to him before I first met him. I mean, I had heard about him, like, people had mentioned him to me, and he's a young guy, and eventually I didn't meet him directly, but I finally saw him, like, oh, this is the guy everybody's talking about. And I told him this last week. He walked in and he was loud and he was funny and he was just out there. And I told him and he laughed. I'm like, dude, you walked in. I'm like, I hate this guy. Jokingly, but I'm like, oh, this guy, like automatically he just threatens like my space or my own identity. And obviously it just shows how fickle or weak, I perception I had of myself. But I'm like, now he's such a good friend, and it's awesome because we're definitely kindred spirits in that way.
He can so be the life of the party.
Yeah, and so in the past, like I said, I would be threatened by that, and I was back then. I'm like, okay, I don't like this guy. That's what I said, and I told him. He just started laughing. But now he's a really good friend, and. But that's just, like I said, I'm just trying to self-protect myself. I'm not thinking about anybody else other than me. But both things can be true. We can both be, out there funny, life of the party, and it doesn't have to threaten the other person.
I think it can go one of two ways for me. One is what I said. It gives me an invitation to also show up that way. Or to the flip side, I can be jealous, or I can judge, like you were saying, because I don't feel the permission in order to do that. And it makes me think of years ago, I was in this discipleship women's group, and a lady shared, long story short, basically seeing in their small group, seeing kids be silly and play and fun and even loud, she was having bitterness and resentment because as a child, she wasn't allowed to do that. and there was no space. It had to be prim and proper and quiet, and kids have their place. And she subconsciously was expecting these kids to do that. And like, well, I didn't get to play. Why do they get to play?
Yeah.
I didn't get to be loud. Why do they get to be loud and carefree and play? And I can really do that. Step into judgment because I am grieving and sad that I didn't get that, or don't feel the invitation to, or why don't I get to? And so does that make you think of something?
Yeah. Yeah, you can continue.
Yeah, so I think it's either, okay, they're fun and I can show up with this too. I'm specifically thinking of Jordy. Like, our friend Jordy is the most gregarious person I know, I think, truly. And wherever he goes, people feel seen, there's laughter. He knows how to connect to literally anybody. Like, you're not going to be a stranger, you're a friend immediately. Yeah. And it really, for me, it gives me this permission to remember that I'm just like that, or I used to be just like that, but I have kind of experienced some social anxiety the past few years, and I've gotten quieter and small, and it's like, I used to be just like, and I still can in certain scenarios for sure, show up and be the connector, and, oh, you need to meet this person, and, oh, you guys would be friends, and be the life of the party. So in that instance, I think because of his confidence, it helps me be confident in that side of me.
Yeah.
But then on the flip side, it also, not Jordy, but in other scenarios, I can experience why do you get to feel the permission or feel the freedom to go up and ask for what you want, or take seconds of something? Like, that's a whole other conversation, but it's like there's part of me that feels judgment. Well, why do you get to? Because I don't feel the freedom to do so.
Yeah, and I think we experienced that with you a lot. Like, just the trying to be fair and even and equal and things like that. And I'm like, yeah, and I think it is probably normative for you, just what you grew up around, just that structure. But I think the other piece is just wanting, maybe since you felt controlled, is like, hey, I want to now control or feel that same thing. Because honestly, controlling people or power feels good until you realize how much it impacts other people, whether they share it or not. Or maybe God brings it up to you. I think the piece that you mentioned, like, I laughed because you're like saying, hey, like, having permission to be or show up a certain way. I'm never in that way. Like, I don't ask for permission. That's just not my default. I'm like, but at the same time, I acted different ways, and it wasn't because of a permission thing. It was just more just self-protecting.
Sure.
Okay, like, well, if I show who I am, if I show my cards, will that be judged? Will that be criticized? Things like that. It's not because people are like, hey, you can't act this way. Because honestly, anytime anybody tells me I can't, I'm like, I just have such a rebellious bent where I'm like, I'm going to go do that thing. Which I don't
Try to tell me.
Yeah, which I don't think is necessarily correct, but that's just my personality type. But it's interesting for you because you're like, hey, like, feeling the need to have an opinion. And I just wonder if even for you, like, you know, decisions can be hard.
Oh, so hard.
My thing is
making decisions.
Yeah, making decisions. For you, do you think that that's just how Jamie's always been? Is just maybe indecisive or just second guessing yourself? Or do you think it's just something that maybe surroundings or the environment just caused a level of, I'm not sure what they're like. I'm just curious, like, do you think it's just your personality type, or do you think it's other things?
It's both.
Okay.
And we can get into it. It's both. So it's a personality trait of ADHD. It's indecisiveness. That it can be very common amongst ADHD people, and so that I relate to. The other thing goes way deeper. That in counseling years ago, we were talking about some of the things, and it clicked for me. Okay, so it's a running joke. For those that don't know, it's a running joke in my family. Jamie can't make decisions, and Jamie takes forever to make decisions. So in counseling, working on some other things, the light bulb clicked that it's actually, as a child, connected to this older friend of mine in my life when I was young. Every decision was, how do I say that? Every decision I made in the back of my mind was, is she going to judge me for this?
It's like filtered through.
Filtered through, that's the word. Is filtered through, what is she going to say? Because both, either she would totally bless a decision or make fun of me for a decision. And what is she going to think about this outfit? What is she going to think about me doing this? And she was only a little bit older than me, but had this very strong personality. And yes, filtered everything through, what is she going to think? And so figuring that out years ago, or realizing that, was really helpful because I was able to let that go. This person's not in my life anymore. And I don't have to even subconsciously filter that or push up against that. I think the other side to it is, I mean, this is the biggest joke. So we were very healthy when we were young. We could eat one piece of candy one day a week. We called it Candy Day. And we each had our own little candy bucket that we could keep our candies and treats in. And we could pick a piece of candy on Candy Day. I would spend like half an hour choosing my piece of candy. And I didn't really talk about this with anybody, but even after choosing not the rest of the day, and it wasn't every time, but sometimes it'd be like, did I choose the right one? Because I'm going to have to wait a whole nother week to choose my next one. And so am I going to enjoy this enough? And is this the right one for today? And there was just so much pressure. That, I don't know where that comes from. But I still struggle with that, with simple things. And I'm working on it, making decisions. And something that you said earlier, maybe it was about making decisions, is that something I'm actively working on, is this carefreeness, this lightheartedness, is with making decisions. You said something about control growing up. Is a lot of decisions were made for us, for me. And so there wasn't a ton of space to make my own decisions or have opinions. And that's something that as an adult, currently I'm still working on, is making my own informed decision or having an opinion before outward opinions are, influenced. Yeah, without outward influences. And so I'm really working on that. You're really good about what do you want for dinner? Well, what do you want? But that part of that is my personality. I'm go with the flow, don't really care. I guess I'm talking about trying to be lighthearted. That's one thing that I just don't really care. Making plans, whatever, I'm go with the flow.
No, you like making plans.
I do like making plans, but I don't care. You decide what you want for dinner. You know, what do you want to do? That can be my people-pleasing side, but it also is, I don't really care. Food's not a big deal to me. I'll find something to eat wherever we go. I don't have strong opinions. And so you've been really good about, nope, what do you want? You're deciding today. And it puts stress on me to have to make the decision because I don't want to make the wrong decision. I don't want to upset you. And so I don't know where I'm going with that, but yeah, making decisions without, before there's outward influence.
Do you think that, so you mentioned that, that friend or individual growing up, maybe wanting their approval or maybe whatever that is. Do you feel like your personality type drew or attracted individuals who are big personalities, who have very specific, particular ways of doing things or being themselves, and in a sense, maybe trying to replay that narrative to hopefully maybe eventually try to resolve or close whatever that loop is that may be open, if there's any open?
Totally. Yeah. Definitely. We repeat, I don't want to get into the conversation of trauma. The word trauma is so taboo right now, but experiences, take it as you will. We find ourselves in situations that repeat those experiences, whether we like it or not. We do it subconsciously. I don't think people actively do it. or choose to do it, but we all do it. And that is one thing. I've never thought about that. That is it a chance to fix that relationship?
Oh.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a really good question.
I heard something. I can't remember what I was listening to. Because I listen to a lot of stuff. It for sure likely was a podcast. Do you think so? Like knowing that we had a really tough marriage and it's really hard, just tons of hard.
Sucky and
Yeah. Which eventually in the future we'll share more of our story.
yeah, we'll get into it. We keep saying that.
We just want to, we want to keep you guys engaged long enough.
Keep you
to,
on your toes.
keep you on your
Keep
toes.
coming back.
Somebody said like an unhealthy 2 will not marry a healthy 8.
Yeah, that. And he's referencing Enneagram, and that's also taboo.
No. I'm not even talking about Enneagram. I'm talking about like if you're to look at like a meaning, it's like from 0 to 10, like that healthy person, like let's say they're an 8 or whatever, and then a 2 is obviously not healthy. Like
That's funny because you just chose our numbers, our Enneagram numbers.
Yeah, no, but that's how they described it. But
Okay.
It's just like basically the whole point is like, can someone who's really healthy be in a position to pick somebody who's unhealthy to be married to, or vice versa? And I think my perception, it's inconclusive for me. Like I don't know if that can be. And I'm saying that because obviously you were really surprised by who you married and all these sort of things. Like you just began to get to know more of me, whether you wanted to know or not. But just you were experiencing me and all my own fullness of who I was, and maybe even too who I wasn't. So I guess with that said, like I'm curious with your thoughts with that. Like, do you think it's do you think a healthy Jamie married a healthy Jonathan, or do you think a healthy Jamie married an unhealthy, or do you think a Jamie married unhealthy Jonathan? I'm curious your thoughts if you were to reflect back.
A healthy Jamie married a healthy Jonathan?
No, sorry. A healthy Jamie married an unhealthy Jonathan. Because obviously our marriage is hard.
Yeah.
So healthy Jamie married unhealthy Jonathan.
Okay.
Or did unhealthy Jamie marry an unhealthy Jonathan?
In both scenarios, you're unhealthy?
Correct.
Okay. That's where I was losing it.
Yeah, that's the common denominator.
I think an unhealthy Jamie. But also, I was a different person back then, and part of me was more confident, which is so weird.
But it's interesting though, because describe expand on that. What was different about then that made you more confident?
I was in ministry. I was in a job where I felt really good about what I could produce. I was in my skill set, and I felt good about that. I was surrounded around community and people that believed in me and loved me and brought out the best in me and really, really knew me and could point out the good, drew out the good, even though, and we may get into this, even though the atmosphere we were in was really unhealthy. I think my own community and friends brought out good in me, and I just believed in myself. But then also the other side of that is I was so insecure. This is going to sound so weird. I think in my job, I loved it so much and I was good at it that I could produce and bring my full self. How I was treated made me very small behind the scenes. There also was a lot of false pride that I didn't know until we got out of that. I think that the pride masked a lot of the insecurity. And I don't know. Why? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think one of the things we've talked about before is like just your identity was what you did.
Yeah.
That was what, and so
Yeah.
if things were going good, like
Yeah.
this is the one area in your life, maybe there's more, but my perception, like this one area in my life, like I'm solid here. Like
Yeah.
I'm not going to question myself because I don't know if you were trying to grab onto something that'd be like, hey, like I'm good. Like I'm not a failure, not an inconvenience, not all these things. And I can definitely relate to aspects of that. The reason I bring that up, I guess, tying all this back to like the playful and fun, is I realized I was listening to something today where it's like, you're performance based, 100%. And that's whether you want to accept it or not. Like that's a motivation.
Yeah.
And I say that as somebody who's also the same way, like perform. And I don't think you can be both. You can be a top performer, wanting to be the best in what you're doing, and be a playful. Like I think one requires a level of seriousness, and so going back to event Jamie or even services Jamie, or when Jamie's locked in,
Yeah.
it's not fun.
Yeah.
It's like I need to get this job
Yeah.
done. This is number one, and for me,
Especially as a perfectionist.
yeah. But just like I said, performance based.
Because then if something fails, then it goes back to my identity. I am bad, or
Yeah.
I look stupid, or I fail.
Yeah. And so that's where my mind goes to, is like knowing that we're both performance based, we have the option of either going that route, which is more vulnerable. I want to put myself in that. And knowing that maybe historically in a sense created an unsafe environment, do I want to go there? Like, do I want to actually be playful and vulnerable and like, hey, this is where I'm at? And I think it's been an evolution for us. I think both you and I mean, and I think everybody can say this in a marriage, we judge each other.
Yeah.
100%
We're so
judge each other.
critical.
Super critical. And, I have my own, like, for example, I remember this now. I'm bringing this up now. I remember there was like when we first got married, or maybe we first, maybe dating, but I think especially when we first got married, there was a certain thing that you did. I can't remember what it was, but personality trait that just annoyed the crap out of me.
You have mentioned this throughout the marriage a couple times. I'm
Yeah.
like, what was it? Or you've even said there was multiple things, and you've never told me what it was.
Yeah, and
what
it
they
doesn't
were.
even matter what it was. That was for me to go through.
Yeah.
Because eventually, I think it might have been within that year or two, first 2 years. Eventually, like, there's a part of me, I don't know if it was God, I very much so likely God, but it's like, this is just who Jamie is. So what? And eventually I just learned to let it go, and I'm like, I stopped resenting, I stopped criticizing that specific area. Mainly because, like I said, I just realized whether I might have been judging you or criticizing, like, hey, like, you're not supposed to feel so comfortable. And like I said, I don't know, I can't fully speak to where my headspace was at then, because it's, almost 9 years ago. But I just remember that specific season where I'm like, yeah, this is annoying the crap out of me. And eventually now, like, if you do something and it does annoy me or it does throw me off, I'm like, I don't like it when you do this. I'm like, Jonathan, that sounds like your problem. Jamie's just being who she's going to be, and that's not your business to get yourself involved in. And I think that's, like, I just think that for me at least, I think you're a lot less controlling that area, but I'm just like, we need to act a certain way and do all these sort of things. And I'm like, man, when you just add so much expectation to a marriage,
Yeah.
just like, how can you be fun
Yeah.
and vulnerable and lights and things like that? And then it might even, I may be speaking for you, but then it may be confusing because, like, hey, in other contexts, all of a sudden I just get this other Jonathan who's super playful and light. And so I'm unsure what I'm coming into. Is he going to be upbeat, funny, lighthearted, or is he going to be super serious, critical, and just judging? So I'm just curious your thoughts with that.
Yeah, it feels very relatable. Very true. I don't really have many thoughts to that. Yes. I think my mind is going multiple directions. One, you haven't really gotten the playful side of me because I haven't felt safe to bring that. And that makes me sad for you, which is so funny to say this out loud because I'm not what you talked about last week. Like, no, everybody should know that I'm awesome. Like, that's not me.
Yeah.
It makes me feel sad because that part of me is really fun. And like, I think there's tears coming to my eyes because I love that side of me. and I honor her. It's like this beautiful part of me that I have let be dormant for so long. And something that came to mind, two things remind me to talk about Texas. But something that came to mind as you were talking is there's a couple friends that I have from high school that when we get together, they feel like home. And I think when I say I don't have friends that are silly as adult friends, I don't see them often. Definitely not often enough, but they feel like home. And what I just realized is they've seen me through every stage and haven't left. And for me, that's so rare. I've lost so many different friendships throughout my life for various reasons. But there's a couple girlfriends that when I see them, they feel like home. And they knew the junior high weirdo Jamie. And they know me now. And we have this text thread, actually. There's 4 of us. And it mostly is just whenever we think of a early 2000s song, we text each other about it. But with these girlfriends, like, they knew me then and they didn't give up on me. And whether they judged me or not back then, they had every right to, but it's like they still accept me. I didn't push them away. I didn't scare them away. They didn't leave. They're still present, and that makes me feel so safe. It makes me think about what we talked about last episode is I don't feel like they're holding me. I'm sure I failed them. I'm sure I hurt them. It's junior high and high school. But they aren't holding me to my worst self. They seem to have let me grow, and vice versa, becoming different versions of ourselves. And there's something so sacred and safe about that, that I'm going to have to ponder more.
Yeah. There's a
which feels really beautiful.
There's a book I read years ago. It was actually for business. I think it had to do with creativity. But it basically used the illustration of we all, when we're born, we're all given a crayon box. Tons of colors. As you get a little bit older, people are like, hey, you can't use that color. Can't use that color. Can't use that color. And by the end, you're just left with one or a few options. Okay. Go ahead, be yourself. Just use those few options to that one option. I think that happens a lot. Because life happens. It is hard. And so even I think it might have been it's definitely 2 years ago now, but I remember I was really busy with work and it just was not a fun season because it's just work. And I remember telling you, this is an idea I had, but I'm like, hey, Jamie, what if you were to be like the chief or the director for fun or mainly because I'm like, I realized I cannot keep doing this and going down the path that we had. I don't know if we ever really landed anywhere.
Burnt out.
Yeah, I don't think we ever really did much with it. But
that was kind of you to say we, if you made me the director and I didn't do much.
But at that time, I'm like, I need some sort of outlet. I need something because I'm just going to go crazy if this is the way it is. And I think the hard piece for me now is not going through the motions and not being mundane or just accepting things as though this is just it. And Monday's gonna be Monday, Wednesday's gonna be Wednesday. The weekends, I even remember too, the first few months of our baby being born, you would say, oh, it's the weekend, can't wait because we can have dad and it's gonna be fun, all these sort of things. And I'm like, one, that was saddening. It's sad to hear. Because obviously it is hey, just focus on work, and then after it's just we kind of had a routine, and we know we'd go right to bed or do very minimally and then go to bed.
And this is newborn stage when we're just surviving.
Yeah, definitely surviving. But now my thing is the question I'm asking is how do I make at least an aspect of every single day whether it's fun or just enjoyable or adventurous? Because just because today is this is not the day that we're recording, but just because today's a Tuesday doesn't mean it can't be awesome. And so part of me, I think I've prayed this a few times. I want it to become more of a consistent prayer, but it's God, I can't wait to see what you're going to do today. Whether it's in the big things or the little things, I just want to have an expectant heart that you're going to do something. and versus just go through the motions and just take it for granted, or for, you know, just for what it was or for what it is. And
I'm writing that down.
just trying to be a high, like, I don't know, just expect more and more and be in desire more. And so I know that this is like zooming a little out from just the fun piece. I think it includes that, but that's what even true for me. Like, even if all we had like every single day was just like going to the park like we do, and just saying like that, honestly, that for me, that's a highlight for my day. And I'm like, man, I just, you know, I'm here with my family, get to watch my kid, you know, just engage and just be with mom and dad, and also to just watch the other kids play. And I'm like, hey man, like I can't imagine once, you know, he's at that stage to do that as well. Yeah, so that's just what it brings up for me, is just how do I have that posture towards God. Like, I can't wait to see what you're going to do today. And maybe it might be a regular Tuesday, and maybe there's one little piece that makes it exciting or fun, but I just know that life can become repetitive, especially once you're married, especially once you have kids, or a kid for us. So I think is in light of that, how do I still enjoy the fullness of life? Because we can. It just looks very different now.
I love that. I used to think the same thing, like, good morning, God, I can't wait to see how you're going to surprise me today. Or, who can I serve? Who do you want to bless through me today? Who do you want to love on and touch through me today? Couple things that came to mind, and I wrote it down to remember, is when, I do remember that a couple years ago when you're like, okay, there has to be some fun in life, and I need you to help me with that. I think it didn't go very far because we have such different ideas of fun, and what I think is fun, you don't. And light bulbs are clicking, things are going off for me. Maybe that is a part of why we haven't been playful and fun in our marriage, because it looks so different.
Yeah, very different.
So it's not just that stuff has been really hard.
Yep.
I did not say a bad word. I said shiz. But I'll retract that even.
Do you want me to say the actual word?
No. Stuff has been really hard, yes. And we also find fun in such different ways. So for you, going to the park every day is, you love routine. You love doing the same thing every day. It's predictable. There's safety in that. And for me, I'm like, can we please just go to this other park?
And we tried once.
We tried, and the
And
parking
there was no
was
parking, and my mind was
horrible.
like,
See, we should have gone to the
We should have gone to the other one. We did end up
And we
going to the other
did.
one. But I'm like, see, I know there's going to be parking at the other one. This one's very shaky.
Shady.
Not shaky, like shaky parking. Like I'm not sure if you're going to get parking.
Unpredictable, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that just was like, oh my gosh. Yes, hard, and we're so different. And so the adventuring aspect, like, I'm glad to hear you say that, because you're so right. Even just like, how can we make today fun? If there's one thing, yes, we have a kid now, and we both want to make every day so great for him. And obviously there's wake windows you want to fill and make sure that he gets tired and all of that. But I think you and I were really enjoying life a lot more with him. And then the other thing was, going back to, you said you don't think that you can be a serious performer and be silly and fun. I wonder if that's true, because John Deloney feels like he's both. He's a go-getter, he is successful, he's done a lot of different successful things, but he plays hard. He also does stand-up, and he is in a band, and I don't know him. These are all things that I've heard him talk about. But it seems like he does both really well.
And I'm sure, he's his 40s, late 40s, early 50s. I don't know how old. He's definitely older, but he's also, I'm sure he probably went through a season to figure out what that's like. But I just know for individuals, when I'm performing or when I'm trying to quote unquote win or something like that, I'm like, I'm not thinking about fun. Now, I do think both can be true. But it's a lot tougher to get there than I'm just going to perform and do my best, and versus like, yeah, this is fun. Like, and maybe the aftermath can be fun too. Like, oh, hey, we did really well with this. This is fun. Yeah. Well, and it's interesting because I'm just going to share this quick little thing because it won't interest you much and maybe a lot of other people. But I just think of like the Seahawks, like them winning the Super Bowl this last year. I literally could look at the team like, man, these guys are having fun and they're winning, and that is the recipe. Is you guys are winning, and even if you lose, you're still a team. But for them, like just them seeing them have so much fun, I'm like, man, this is like I just knew once I started seeing that halfway through the season, I'm like, they could take this far. I didn't think it'd be that far, but I just think of that. But the reality is like everybody be like, hey, then why doesn't everybody do that? It's like that's the playbook. That's the
Yeah,
standard.
yeah.
It's hard
Yeah.
because you got to get chemistry, you got to get all these other things, external pieces to click. So I do think that it is possible. It's just really tough or hard. So someone like Deloney, I'm sure he probably did a lot of work or maybe just figure out the right balance to get that. And I also know he's been open about he's still figuring stuff out
Yeah.
as well himself.
Yeah,
So
totally.
just because we see it externally doesn't mean somebody has it fully nailed down. But
Yeah.
that's where my mind would go.
Yeah.
But it's interesting though because I guess, do you have anything? I don't know if you had anything more with like the topics or
Sure.
anything that you wrote down, but I was going to ask you a question.
Yeah, go for it.
So describe like just for like I know that we've been kind of going a little bit more deeper with like this topic and maybe I don't know if the emotional side or just like the reality of what it is for us. I'm curious for you, what's fun? Describe fun, something, and that word can be as broad as like fulfilling or like you can change, you can use whatever you think fits that description. What is it for you? So it can be as simple as games or as something, maybe more with more depth.
I have an actual list in my phone of who am I really and what do I enjoy, because I tend to forget. And I'll answer the question, but I'm just thinking like, how do I forget that? Losing myself focused on fixing our marriage, I guess, or just the work that it's been the past few years has been the focus versus fun. There's a few things that are really life-giving for me. Hosting, I already said that. Gathering a group of people is so life-giving. And one thing I want to note, I've talked about this with the group of people that we usually host, but like really telling you, I really want to work on social anxiety. Like when I think about the hosting, it's so fun. I love the planning. I love the fact that everybody's coming. But the moment everybody comes, I put so much pressure on myself for everybody to have fun and enjoy it that I start to get really anxious. And it makes me think of Easter when we hosted this year. You were upstairs with the baby, and I'm panicking because it's like everybody's here. I don't know how to host. It's like, take a deep breath. You actually do know how to host. And so that's an offshoot. That's something I just really want to work on, is even in the hosting, even in the thing that I really love to do, I want to learn how to just do, again, going back to more carefree and not be anxious about it. Okay, so hosting is so fun. I'm planning a baby shower right now, and I'm so excited. It's for a very, very dear friend of mine that I'm just so honored and blessed to shower this coming fall. I really love to bake. Baking
That's fun.
brings me so much joy. And maybe because I'm good at it, but also it's just really fun. Well, I guess you could just go back to when we talked about our ideal date. That is fun for me. It's like adventuring, going on a road trip, going on a date, like having a day trip. That's really fun. Drinking tea, being with my family, hanging with my nieces. Oh, yeah. Being with my baby, making him giggle, laughing with you is so fun. Yeah. This is a different version of that question, kind of. So I'll just ask this one. When you think about the version of yourself that gets to be, sorry, that's the other one. When was the last time you remember feeling completely free to be silly and playful? And what do you think? Well, this says with me, but I'm just going to rephrase it. When was the last time you remember feeling completely free to be silly and playful? And what do you think was different about you then that encouraged that? And what were you doing?
Honestly, I think it's just when I hang out with guy friends. That's how I feel. One, because I can goof around. And then two, I can joke like a guy, which not all women or wives would probably want to hear all the jokes that I say or are in those spaces.
Yeah, I don't. It's, yeah.
Yeah, it's funny and fun for me. Might not be right, but... And so I think the last one was just like I think it was just like a poker night. I think it's for my birthday, yeah. That's what it
When I
was.
forced you to go hang out for your birthday?
That was fun. Yeah, it's just the people and then... Yeah, but I think for me in general, just with fun, honestly, I'm realizing now it has less to do with the activity. I think sometimes I like watching a show or a documentary or movie with you. Mm-hmm. Mainly show or documentary, mainly documentary probably. Documentary, then show, and then if we have to, then we can watch a movie in that order. Obviously hanging out with you and the baby and going out to do stuff and just even living through his eyes, just seeing him experience it, that's awesome. But I would say in general, like if those two things weren't there, the thing I find the most fun, fulfilling, or life-giving is having real, honest, serious conversations. Mm-hmm. Where maybe fun will be looped into that, but just like there's something about walking away from an individual conversation or a couple or some sort of thing where like they just were honest, did not hold back. They just put it all out there. We also do, or I also do. It's just super rich conversation. Like I just love that.
There's something so fulfilling about that.
Yeah, and that's why for me, I don't know, that's just, I always want to, I realize people are incredibly fascinating people. I think have their own story, whether they're, super accomplished or whether they're just, an average Joe like me. I think people can be incredibly interesting. Mm-hmm. And so that's even too, like, even with the podcast or thing I'm listening to today, just hearing people's story and hardship, things like that, I'm like, it's really refreshing to just see people and, I don't know, just see them for who they are, connect with them on a human level. That's just so life-giving. Mm-hmm. And that's why for me, whether it's for us in this context, doing this podcast or with other people that we talk to, I just want to have really rich conversations, and I think that probably leads to like eventually having really rich relationships. Mm-hmm. But you have to create an environment or foster that. It can't just happen. But honestly, in any room I walk into, I'm like, man, how do I talk to somebody? Just get hear their story, hear what they have to say.
We both are that way. We love the real deep connection.
Yeah, so that's definitely for me where I lean. It's just that's like the most fun. If I could just do that every single day for the rest of my life, that would be awesome.
Yeah. So when I was thinking about this topic, it also makes me think of, we've talked about doing other shorts, not just for posting, like for content. It's fun little challenges or whatever. And I get really excited about that. There's so many things that I have saved, like we should try this. That gets me excited. I think that I love the word that you use, foster. That can foster more silliness and fun and play. And even years ago, we did create a few videos we did one where I went around our area and got burgers from every fast food area, for every fast food in our area. And I did the chicken burger, you did the cheeseburger, and then the fries, and we compared them. Things like that to me is really fun. We never even put those out and posted anything about that, but different things that can just be fun and lighthearted and enjoyable. Yeah. That's total 180 from the deep conversations that you just mentioned, but it is fun experiences. And I kind of even have a little dream for this podcasting community, is helping people think of date night ideas or ways to connect, because we've really needed that. We've needed help thinking of date ideas and ways to connect and have fun and spend time together. So that's just a dream of mine, to be able to help other couples think of that too. So maybe even just, sharing ideas or trying new things or challenges or questions or whatever.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because you've tried that in the past. I just think for me, if there is no like, and I get the purpose is to build the relationship and get to know each other more. It just seems like odd to me to do it on our
Really?
own. But it's funny though because it's like you have to find the right format.
Okay.
For me, it's like, hey, we're doing this for content. Do this thing. Okay, I think I'm more open to that than.
Okay.
Because I remember one time, I mean, I've definitely knocked down ideas that you've shared, and I'm just like, why are we doing this? This seems weird. But like for me, if what is it? If you're trying to persuade someone like myself, it's like, hey, I want to do this thing, but it's for this purpose.
Okay.
Okay, like,
Okay.
and I think it works both ways. Like, hey, how do I do what I want to do, but package it in a way that the other person's like just as excited or just as bought in. I think that can happen in marriage, where you're just like, okay, I want to do this, but I don't really want to do this. So it's like, how do you communicate it or articulate it?
How do you be a marketer?
Package it? Yeah, because I think it matters a lot. Yeah, because like for example, if you were to say like, I think that idea that you had with the food stuff like that was actually really cool. That was really fun. So maybe it's also to the idea as well, but I just think it'd be different if it was there was a goal or objective with it, which
Sure.
quite frankly, I think some people might be like, hey, like the goal should be just to work on or focus on your marriage. Yeah, for sure.
Well, the goal was to find the best fast food burger in our area.
But no, but I'm saying like further, like what's the intent?
Yeah.
It's like,
Deeper.
Because you want to have fun, you want to
Okay.
build liveliness in your marriage, and for some people, like, hey, that should be enough. I'm like, yeah, but I have my own preferences and opinions about things, and so.
Okay, so then what would be an idea for a deeper, better reason?
What do you mean?
It's like, yeah, it has to have a goal in mind.
Well, it's just like, hey, I want to grow closer to my marriage.
Okay.
That being it's like, what I'm saying is like for most people that would be enough. Like, yeah, let's do it because that'll help that. Mm-hmm. Or something like, like.
Yeah, so I'm saying for you, what's a better reason? If we were to
Content.
Okay. If we were to do that again, do the burger idea, it's enough for you that we're recording.
Yeah, because it gives an object. Like, I don't know. Like, that's just how my brain works. Mm-hmm. Now, in other cases, though, I think some things can be done in private. It's just like, I think if, hey, I have this idea, I feel like he's going to maybe say no or hold back. How do I figure out how to make that no a yes? It's like, hey, here's what we're going to do. And maybe it's not even the format. Maybe it's like, hey, and at the end, we'll be able to do this thing. Or like maybe there's another bonus. It's like, how do you get the carrot? You're like, hey, like, do you want this carrot? Do you want this carrot? Like, all right, cool. We got to go this way. It's like, okay, where are we going?
I'm not good at that.
That's
something I need to grow in.
But it is because I think maybe most couples are like,
I'm not good at that because I'm so. If you want to do this, I want to do this because you want to do it. It's not. I haven't necessarily felt that vice versa. You are getting so much better at that. But at the beginning of our marriage, I legit made a jar of different movies we wanted to show each other just that you would, because I wanted to, and that was fun. But you had not watched a single one of my favorite movies. And so that was a good way for you to enjoy. And you've enjoyed every single one thus far.
Yes. The hard part, or maybe the right word is the annoying part, is we picked several of the movies back to back, and I'm like, okay, this is not fun anymore. When I'm going to watch what I want to watch. And I agree, the movies you wanted to watch were good.
You did like them.
But the other thing
I was so proud. You actually really enjoyed, like Anne of Green Gables.
Yeah.
You enjoyed.
But I think that's where, for me, and like I said, maybe most people don't have to deal with it. Maybe most people are just agreeable, and they're just like, yeah, if my wife or my husband says to do this thing, I'll go do it. Great. It's just, for me, it's just like, I always think through the lens of what is in it for me, which likely is very much so not the right response or posture, but it's true. And so that's where, for me, I'm like, and even too with movies, I'm like, those can be long commitments as well. And so I struggle with wanting to watch movies as well. But yeah, we tried it. And I think, like I said, we watched several movies back to back. I'm like, okay, this is too much.
You're a champ.
And go from there. But.
Yeah. Yeah, I can be, let's do this because you want to do it. Yep. You are getting better.
Well, and honestly, for me, it's not, I don't even, I want to do the same thing every day. So there's not really much variety.
Sure.
So like for you to be like, yeah, I'll watch this thing. Like it's less of an investment than doing this whole, other thing. So it makes sense in that capacity as well.
Yeah.
But honestly, I feel like I definitely do. I don't know if admire is the right word, but just people who are like adventurous and do all that sort of stuff. Because that's not my personality makeup. But I could see how that can be incredibly lively, like and just fun and stuff like that. But it's just not. And maybe it's more like admire, just like, hey, you're doing your thing. That's awesome. That's not me, but that's cool that you like it. That sort of thing.
I do feel very inspired and challenged to be that fun director again. And like what you talked about years ago, to even just bring up, you are so good. You're really good at research. I don't love the research, but you're really good about finding, hey, this free thing is going on nearby, or there's this fair. And now that I have a forum for that in our city, I'm better about that and like putting it on the calendar. But yeah, I would like to commit to being better at doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot said this episode. A lot of different directions, but I think the heart of it is we both really desire to connect to each other and to other people and to grow in not just fun, but realness, which is awesome.